The Outer Frontier. Book 2. The Frontier Origin. Chapter 1. A New Lesson Before the Front. The auditorium of the Terran Naval Academy was unusually quiet. Nearly 300 cadets sat beneath a ceiling that projected a living map of the Milky Way. Thousands of stars shimmered overhead, connected by faint blue lines representing the modern network of faster-than-light routes that now united much of the galaxy. Most of the map glowed brightly. Only one region remained almost completely dark: the outer spiral arm. The frontier. An elderly man stood alone beneath the stars. Professor Elias Mercer had never worn an admiral's uniform, yet every student in the academy knew his name. He was the foremost historian of humanity's expansion into deep space, and many of the archives he preserved were older than the Galactic Union's first contact with Earth. He waited until the last whispers faded. Without raising his voice, he began. History has a curious habit. A gesture of his hand sent the galactic map slowly rotating above the audience. It convinces us that extraordinary events begin with extraordinary moments. He paused. They almost never do. The stars dissolved. In their place appeared a single blue world. Earth. Our students are often asked a simple question. He smiled faintly. When did the Frontier War begin? Several cadets exchanged knowing glances. Everyone knew the answer. 300 years ago. Professor Mercer slowly shook his head. No. Silence settled across the room. The war began long before the first shot was fired. The image of Earth slowly expanded. Mars appeared. Then Luna. Orbital habitats. Shipyards. The first permanent colonies beyond the solar system. Each new point of light stretched humanity a little farther into the darkness. We remember the war because it changed us. Another pause. But to understand the war, we must first remember the civilization we were before it. The projection changed again. Gone were the massive battleships that now defended the frontier. Instead, graceful exploration vessels drifted across the stars. They were small, fragile, elegant, designed not for combat, but for discovery. In those days, Mercer continued, our greatest fear was not invasion. A tiny ship appeared crossing the void between two distant stars. It was loneliness. A soft murmur spread among the cadets. The first generations of explorers believed they might spend their entire lives searching without ever finding another intelligent species. The ship continued forward. Then another joined it. Then dozens more. They were scientists, engineers, surveyors, doctors. They carried telescopes instead of weapons, seeds instead of ammunition, laboratories instead of missile bays. The professor allowed himself a nostalgic smile. They truly believed the galaxy was waiting to become a neighborhood. The hologram shifted once more. A small alien vessel appeared, primitive by modern standards. Its hull was unlike anything humans had ever built. Several cadets leaned forward. Our first contact, Mercer said, is often remembered as a triumph of diplomacy. A faint smile crossed his face. It wasn't. Quiet laughter filled the room. The alien captain believed our exploration ship was an autonomous weapon. The human captain believed exactly the same thing. More laughter. For nearly 3 days, both crews hid behind nearby moons. They monitored each other. They translated fragments of radio transmissions. They argued. They panicked. They prepared for a battle neither side wanted. The holographic ships slowly approached each other, then stopped, then exchanged a narrow beam of light. Our first diplomatic message contained only 4 mathematical equations. The students watched silently. It took another 6 days before anyone dared transmit a greeting. The professor folded his hands behind his back. "Fear," he said softly, "is remarkably universal." The map expanded. Now dozens of stars appeared across the galaxy's outer rim. Each marked a different civilization. None possessed hundreds of worlds. Most controlled only a handful of systems. Some had never traveled farther than neighboring stars. Others had developed remarkable technologies despite their isolation. What surprised humanity most was not that intelligent life existed. It was how many civilizations had lived in isolation for thousands of years. The stars multiplied. So far from the galactic core, they knew nothing of the galactic union. Some cadets exchanged surprised looks. Mercer noticed. Yes, when humanity eventually met the Union, we discovered we had already known dozens of civilizations that the Union itself had never encountered. Trade routes appeared, scientific exchanges, joint expeditions, medical cooperation. Ship designs evolved as cultures shared ideas. Those were extraordinary decades. We explored. We learned. We made friends. We believed every new star would bring another civilization. The professor looked toward the dark edge of the holographic galaxy. His expression changed. The first warning was so small that almost nobody noticed. One of the stars disappeared. No explosion. No alarm. It simply vanished. The expedition scheduled to arrive there found empty orbit. Another light faded. The stations were silent. Another, no distress calls. Another, no wreckage. Another, no survivors. The enormous auditorium had become completely silent. Mercer allowed several seconds to pass. At first, we blamed equipment failures. The next star vanished. We blamed navigation errors. Another disappeared. We blamed natural disasters. Another, and when none of those explanations survived investigation, he slowly faced the audience. We began to fear something much worse. Behind him, almost every light along the outermost edge of the galaxy extinguished one after another. Not violently, quietly, methodically, like candles being snuffed out by an invisible hand. No explosions, no battles, only silence. The remaining illuminated stars now formed an unmistakable line. The darkness was moving inward, one system at a time. The professor spoke so quietly that every cadet instinctively leaned forward. None of those civilizations declared war. Another star vanished. They did not surrender. Another, they did not flee. Another, they simply... He stopped. The final light disappeared, ceased to exist. Darkness filled the auditorium. For several long seconds, no one moved. No one breathed. Then, from somewhere inside the black holographic dome, a single ancient audio recording began to play. Static, fragments of an unknown language. An alarm, then silence. Professor Mercer never looked back. When humanity first heard that recording, we believed we had discovered the ruins of a civilization. His voice grew even quieter. We were wrong. A long pause. We had discovered the beginning of our own history.